Guys, can I say how grateful I am that you've chosen not to do Al Gore, but to do me? Two things before I start. The first is that I never set out to do anything that I'm going to talk to you about today. It was a complete and total accident. And so you're about to hear a very personal perspective on everything I'll be talking about. I am not a sex expert. I am not a qualified sex educator. I'm just going to talk to you about everything that I've encountered and my own observations. The second thing to say is, if anybody in this room is offended by sexually explicit language, please leave now. I'm going to be extremely straightforward, and if at any point any of you feel that you don't want to stay and you want to get up and leave, that's totally fine. I won't be offended. I date younger men. They tend to be men in their 20s. And through dating younger men, I encountered an issue that would never have crossed my mind if I'd not encountered it very directly and very personally, which is what happens when you combine total freedom of access to hardcore porn online with our society's equally total reluctance to talk openly and honestly about sex in the real world, which results in porn becoming, by default, the sex education of today in not a good way. And so I found myself, about 5 years ago, encountering a number of sexual behavioral memes. And I went, whoa, I know where that behavior is coming from. And if I'm encountering this, then other people will be as well, and I want to do something about it. So 4 years ago, I put up on no money, which is why it's very basic, clunky, and minimal, a website at MakeLoveNotPorn.com that posts the myths of hardcore porn and balances them with the reality. The construct is porn world, real world. This is what happens in the porn world. This is what really happens in the real world. The opportunity came up to launch MakeLoveNotPorn.com at TED. I took a deliberate decision to be very explicit in my TED talk because I knew that audience would not get this issue unless I was very straightforward about it. As a result, it's safe to say that everybody at TED 2009 remembers my talk. As one Twitterer said, it was the first time the words "come on my face" had been heard on the TED stage 6 times in succession. And the talk went viral as a result, and the response to Make Love Not Porn has been extraordinary ever since. And the most extraordinary thing was not huge amounts of traffic to the site from every country in the world on zero promotion from me, but that every single day for the past 4 years, up to the present day, I get emails to my Make Love Not Porn inbox. And I get them from young and old, male and female, gay and straight, from every country in the world. And even before the actual site that I put up there, what amazes people is simply the fact that I stood on a stage in public, I talked about, and I'm doing something about, what everybody knows and nobody ever speaks about. And as a result, people feel able to tell me anything. They pour their hearts out to me in email. They tell me things about their sex lives and their porn-watching habits they've never told anybody else before. And it was the cumulative impact of those emails day after day after day that began making me feel I had a personal responsibility to take Make Love Not Porn forwards in a way that would make it more far-reaching, helpful, and effective. Make Love Not Porn is not anti-porn. The issue I'm tackling isn't porn. I'm tackling the complete absence in our society of an open, healthy, honest, truthful conversation around sex in the real world, which would then, amongst many other benefits, enable people to bring a real-world mindset to the viewing of what is essentially artificial entertainment. Our entire message with Make Love Not Porn boils down to talk about it. And so what I decided to do was to take every dynamic that exists out there in social media currently and apply them to the one area that no other social media network or platform has ever gone or will ever dare to go, which is sex. I want to socialize sex. I want to make real-world sex socially acceptable and therefore just as socially shareable as anything else we currently share on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram. So 6 months ago, my team and I launched MakeLoveNotPorn.tv. MakeLoveNotPorn.tv is a user-generated crowdsourced platform where anybody from anywhere in the world can submit videos of themselves having real-world sex. We explain what we mean by real-world sex on the site. It's simply not performative. It's not performing for the camera. It's recording what goes on in the real world in all its funny, messy, glorious, silly, ridiculous humanness. I and my team curate. This is a wholly curated proposition. This is not YouPorn, Pornhub, Xtube, where anybody can upload anything. And we have a revenue-sharing business model. We charge you to submit, small token nominal fee, $5 per submission. That's a curation fee. It's non-refundable whether or not we publish your content. What that $5 is actually is quality control. That screens out trolls, spammers, crap. If you're going to submit and you have to pay $5, then you will at least submit what you're looking for. And then we charge you to rent. So you don't download, we host and stream, but when you click on the video you want to watch, you pay $5. You can then view it as many times as you like over a 3-week period, and obviously during that period, show it to anybody in your physical vicinity of your laptop or mobile device. And then we revenue share. We give you, the contributor, or the MakeLoveNotPorn star, as we like to call you, 50% of the income from your rental videos, which first of all is an incentive to you to actually promote it through your network and beyond, share it socially, help do our marketing for us. And secondly, if, as we hope one day, we grow and scale, and we hit the kind of critical mass where your MakeLoveNotPorn.tv video could hit 1 million rentals at $5 per rental, and we give you half that revenue, you're laughing. This is why we call ourselves the Etsy of Sxsw. This is where you can create your own cottage industry, doing what comes naturally the way it comes naturally, which in a recession-torn economy the world over, and we're global, we hope will be quite appealing. Now, one of the things that it's quite important to define here is we're not porn, we're not amateur, we're real-world sex. And people go, what the hell is that? Aren't you just amateur under a different name? Actually, no. I'm going to give you several examples of what I mean by real-world sex. And I stress example because the whole point about this is MakeLoveNotPorn.tv is an experiment. We're putting the platform out there, and you, the world, the community, you're telling us what your real-world sex is. But here are some of the examples of what we mean when we talk about real-world sex. Real-world sex is funny. If you can't laugh at yourselves when you're having sex, when can you? Porn world sex is not funny. Porn is parodies, but the sex in them is in deadly earnest. One of the reasons we're doing this is that we want to reassure people the same shit happens to all of us. Because we never talk about it. Instead, we go, oh my God, what happened last night was so excruciatingly embarrassing, I can never speak about this to anybody ever. So, for example, the total nightmare putting the condom on. Guys, you're meant to know how to do it like magic. As we all know, does not happen like that. When it doesn't happen like that, things go soft, juices dry up, encounters get derailed. Queefing, fanny farts, everyone does it, nothing to be ashamed of. We want a category that is the sexual equivalent of America's funniest home videos. Because when people film themselves fucking, you never see the outtakes. But there's a market for that. Imagine the sex equivalent of Charlie Bit My Finger, which has now had like 500 million views on YouTube. Imagine the appeal of something as spontaneous, funny, and human in a sex context. So real-world sex is funny. Real-world sex is messy. It always amuses me when people talk about porn as being dirty, because porn actually sanitizes sex. Porn's very clean. In porn, nobody has hair. You never see anyone using lube, even though they get through gallons on set. You never see any of those nice, messy things that happen in real-world sex. So we want categories like period sex. You never see that in porn. And as a result, there's this very unfortunate myth for young men and women today that goes, whoa, can't have sex during a period. So we invite the hottest, most arousing real-world sex content that is sex during a period. Blood everywhere, no big deal. Take the tampon out with your teeth, whatever turns you on. Then real-world sex is responsible. So in porn, either there are no condoms, or all of a sudden the condom's on. Jump cut, they're fucking. Where did that come from? So we invite the hottest, most arousing real-world sex content that actively competes to eroticize condom usage. What's the hottest, most arousing way? You can introduce a condom into the action, put it on, take it off, dispose of it. I have sex with condoms all the time. I want to watch my kind of sex, but I particularly want creative ideas for those awkward condom moments that we all go through. And if more of us had more creative ideas on how to make those awkward condom moments hot and arousing, there'd be a lot more safe sex happening, a lot less STDs, and a lot less unwanted pregnancies. There's a huge gap in the market between porn with no condoms and sex ed in the classroom, roll the condom over the banana, it's all about preventing death, disease, and destruction. We want to introduce a new sociocultural meme. Make condom hot, love not porn. And we welcome submissions from all of you. The condom manufacturers have it wrong. It's not about reliability, that's price of entry. It's about how will this not get in the way of great real-world sex. Then, I hope Sarah, my community manager creator, doesn't mind me bringing this up, but our own experiences have fed into how we've designed this platform. So we were sitting around one day talking about our own sex lives, and Sarah said, well, John, husband, and I have lazy person sex. And we all went, what the hell is lazy person sex? And so she told us, and I think we can all empathize, lazy person sex is when the two of you have had a really long, hard day. You're totally knackered. You're lying in bed at the end of that really long, hard day. You're completely shattered, but you're really horny. You want to get off. You don't want to have to lift a single finger to do it. And that's the point at which John will nudge Sarah and go, can we just have lazy person sex? And I think we've all been there. So we want make lazy person love not porn. Because what a blessing for all humankind. You don't have to rock it like a porn star every time. This is the real world. We have lazy person sex. And here are hot, creative, arousing ways to do it. With MakeLoveNotPorn.tv, we are building a platform and tools to be what we call sexual social currency. So social acceptability is a very big part of that. We have a particular design philosophy, which is that everything on our site, apart from the actual videos themselves, is safe for work. The thumbnails we choose to put on the videos, the copy, the idea is that, this is the website where when somebody sits down next to you, you never have to slam your laptop shut. It's okay, it's Make Love Not Porn. It's not TV, it's HBO. It's not porn, it's Make Love Not Porn. And we have a number of social features that have social functions. Now, everything I'm going to tell you about is in the pipeline because we're tiny, we're bootstrapping, and so we can only build so fast. But you will be able to curate and put together your own personalized MakeLoveNotPorn.tv playlists, just like you do on iTunes and Spotify. And those playlists might be for solitary usage. So maybe they're the collection of videos that get you off within 20 seconds every time. But they could also be the sex equivalent of a mixtape. Imagine you've begun dating a really hot guy or girl. You curate and send them your own personalized MakeLoveNotPorn.tv playlist. We have a gifting capability. And because it's us, it's OK to do that. And that playlist might just be, here's some really hot stuff to watch next time we're together. But it could also be, here's what I'm really into. This is what I would actually really like to do to me. This is what would, in fact, really make me come. And by sending this playlist, I don't have to have the actual conversation out loud in words, heaven forbid, because that would be really awkward and embarrassing for both of us. And we can see how we respond and take it from there. Then you will be able to rate and score our content holistically, but we're also planning on building a system of in-video timeline scoring. Another revenue stream for us further down the road is data. This has the potential to be the Kinsey of today. Real-world, real-time, real-life human sexual behavior, aggregated in a way that nobody else is doing. But when it came to designing an in-video timeline scoring system, we had to take account of the fact that nobody's watching porn, they're wanking. This is not entertainment you watch, it's entertainment you masturbate to. So we had to design an in-video timeline scoring system that was very simple, easy to use, and one-handed. So we have designed our own unit of appreciation. Our version of the Facebook like is the MakeLoveNotPorn.tv yes. So you score by going, yes, 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 yes. And all you have to do is hit the space bar. You do it with one hand, you do it left-handed or right-handed. So these are some of our icons. And you also get badges and stickers at our Foursquare, which reward talents and skills and achievements. So the very first time you contribute content, you get the newbie badge, which is the cherry over there. And we are deliberately designing in mechanisms to encourage you to push your sexual boundaries. So the first time you view or contribute content outside your normal realm, you get the Explorer badge, which is the little ship and the scroll up there. And all of this builds up as your profile, your sexual profile on MakeLoveNotPorn.tv, because sex is personality. Who we are sexually is as much part of how we self-identify and self-express as any other talent, skill, or trait we currently publicly showcase in social media. Now, the interesting thing is that since we launched, we've discovered that without doing one single bit of media outreach, you can get shed loads of media coverage. 2 weeks after we launched, as a tiny private invitation-only beta site last August, Sxsw ran this on their front page with the headline, "Cindy Gallop's new website takes aim at porn status quo." And I give the porn industry full credit for seeing the disruptive potential of what we're doing before many other people did. The porn industry has been enormously supportive. Of the many people who've reached out because of MakeLoveNotPorn.com, I discovered a lot of people were reaching out from the porn industry, specifically Generation Y in porn. Gen Ys in the audience, your generation in porn is like your generation anywhere else. They're entrepreneurial, they're ambitious, they're questioning and challenging the old world order, and they want to be a part of the new. So I found that 20-something porn stars and porn directors are reaching out to me, saying, "We love this initiative, we want to help." As a result, I have a lot of friends in porn who've been enormously helpful and supportive. We have a category on MakeLoveNotPorn.tv where porn stars get to post the sex they have off camera in the real world. Because porn stars have real world sex too, that is completely different from the sex they have on camera. And you can see, a number of my porn friends like Danny Wilde, Lily LeBeau, and Lily Cade having the sex they really have in their real world relationships. Now, a lot of the media got extremely excited when we launched, all around the world. The Italians got particularly overexcited, as they do. These are headlines from 2 Italian publications, again, only 2 weeks after we launched, and were tiny. L'Espresso, the headline was, "Goodbye YouPorn, hello MakeLoveNotPorn." This, and they said in the piece, "This site, if successful, has the potential to topple the giants of the industry like YouPorn." Today said, "Hello YouPorn, MakeLoveNotPorn arrives and will make you crazy. This website is still in beta. It promises to change forever the world of online pornography." Actually, that is not what we're about. We're not going up against porn, and we're not competing with porn. We're doing something very different. 99.9% of all porn on the internet billed as amateur isn't. It's made by professional production companies masquerading as amateur because that is what people want to see. Those dorm rooms don't exist, And our core value proposition resides in the fact that everybody wants to know what everybody else is really doing in bed, and nobody does. And that's what we want to showcase. And so we've been particularly interested in our members' responses. I was talking to a guy in his 40s who's obviously, in his lifetime, watched a shed load of porn. He's a very big fan of MakeLoveNotPorn.tv. And he told me, "When I watch MakeLoveNotPorn.tv videos, I feel I've never seen people having sex before." Another man said to us, "Porn makes me want to jerk off. Your videos make me want to have sex." And that's precisely the point. And by the way, we created MakeLoveNotPorn.tv to be gender equal. Our membership is 50-50 male-female, and in fact, it skews slightly more male, which we're really pleased about. And this is a young woman writing to us. "Your videos take longer to get me wet, and they have fewer scenes that make me come, but they fill my head with all kinds of new ways I want to fuck my boyfriend. My brain is my second clit, and MakeLoveNotPorn.tv is rubbing me the right way." So that's why we say we're not porn, we're not amateur, we're real-world sex. And we are out to show you that real-world sex is more innovative, more creative, more surprising, more hot and more arousing than porn can ever be. Now, I cannot even begin to tell you how extraordinarily difficult it has been and continues to be for me and my team to build this venture. It took me 2 years to get MakeLoveNotPorn.tv funded. Very ironic, I should have been every VC's wet dream, literally. I have an idea, enabled by technology, designed to disrupt a sector worth billions of dollars in a way that is both socially beneficial and potentially very lucrative. But because that sector is porn, and the social benefit is to sexuality, no VC wanted to come near me. I eventually found one angel investor who got it, put up a small amount of seed funding to enable us to get started building the platform. I closed on that funding 18 months ago. I could not get my hands on the actual money for several months because I could not find a single bank here in America that would allow me to open a business banking account for a business that has the word porn in the name and does what we do. I still can't, by the way. I can't find a bank anywhere in the world that wants my business. If any of you out there know anybody who owns a bank, please hook us up. Our single biggest operational challenge has been putting our payments infrastructure in place. Because we are what the world deems adult content, PayPal won't work with us. Amazon won't work with us. None of the mainstream payment processors will work with us. I got so frustrated, I said to my co-founder and CTO, Corey Innes, we're trying to invent the future of porn. We want to talk to anybody inventing the future of money. Let's find all the people as frustrated with the old world order system of money and finance and payments as we are, from a different perspective. Let's research every fintech startup out there, because those are the guys that we want to work with. And so we researched the entire financial tech startup landscape. We found the people we wanted to work with, but the new world order of money subscribes to old world order legislation. The small print said no adult content. So I had to reach out to the founders and ask them to hear my pitch, which is how I came to reaching out to Ben Milne of Dwolla, which is a PayPal challenger. I Skyped with Ben, gave him the pitch. At the end of my pitch, he said, Cindy, I don't know what to say. Then he went, no, I really don't know what to say. I'm from Iowa. But he totally got it. And he said, I really support your social mission. As long as what you guys are doing is legal, which it is totally, then we're there for you. So Dwolla have been a fantastic partner. Patrick Collison of Stripe. Stripe is the gold standard for taking credit card payments online. Patrick totally supports our mission. His bank doesn't, so we can't work with Stripe. I had to register MakeLoveNotPorn as a company in Europe to work with a European payments processor called Sxsw, who hooked us up with a European bank Wirecard in order to be able to take credit card payments. I am very public about these issues because I am fighting this battle publicly, not only on behalf of us, but every other entrepreneur building a venture in the same area who struggles with the same issues. And I am also fighting this battle on behalf of the porn industry. I bring a very particular perspective to the porn industry. I bring a business perspective, which is relatively rare. It's only rare because the people whose brilliant brains populate the pages of the Harvard Business Review have no interest in turning any of that brilliance on the adult industry, and they should. Porn is like any other sector that I study as a business consultant. Porn has gotten so big, it's gotten conventional. Porn now has norms and rules and conventions, which is why so much of it is so repetitive and boring. It has fallen prey to that syndrome of collaborative competition. Collaborative competition is when everybody in a sector competes with everybody else in the sector by doing exactly the same thing everybody else in the sector is doing, and it's tanking. Its old world order business model has been destroyed by the advent of free porn online, and it hasn't invented a new one. Every dynamic that I've just cited is also true of the music industry, of television, of film, of publishing, of journalism, of advertising, and every other sector you could name. It's just the way those dynamics manifest in porn is more controversial and distressing. So porn is not, when people create a furore around, oh my God, this trend for violence in porn or whatever, it's not because there are twisted, malignant, evil forces at work. It's because this is an industry like any other industry, full of business people playing it safe, scared shitless by the tanking economy, by the sales graphs going down, going, oh, they're all doing it, so we should do that too. That's a safe route to take. And it's very cheap to produce, and we can produce a lot of it, so let's just keep doing that. And this is why I would really like to see things change in the world of business, not simply for us, but for everybody operating in the field of sex and for the porn industry. Because we all watch porn, we never talk about it. Porn exists in this parallel universe, this shadowy otherworld. When you force something, anything, into the shadows, underground, you make more bad things happen, and you make it very difficult for good things to happen. The answer is actually not to blame the porn industry, it's to take a long, hard look at the world of business. I wrote a piece for the Independent newspaper in the UK a few weeks ago with the headline, "It's not that porn degrades women, it's that business degrades porn." And the answer to all of this is, don't close down, censor, block, clamp down. Open up the world of business, enable ventures to do with sex and the adult world to operate on the same terms and conditions as everybody else. Welcome people who want to do new things in that sector. By the way, I'm enormously conscious of the fact that when I'm talking about the subject, everything is a double entendre. Okay, I know what you're thinking when I put that slide up. But the answer really is to enable better things to happen. I believe you can change the world through sex. My team and I are working to help make sex better for everybody. The world of business is doing everything it possibly can to stop us. And that's ridiculous. It's particularly unfortunate because there is another way in which the porn industry is like every other industry going. It is dominated by men at the top. It is a business that is predominantly managed, led, informed, influenced, and driven by men who believe wrongly that men are their primary target audience. I have a lot of wonderful friends who are women doing amazing work in porn. These are just some of them. Jennifer Lionbell of Blue Artichoke Films, based in Amsterdam, Nika Noel of Hard Candy Films, Madison Young, Tristan Taormino, Nina Hartley, Erica Lust, Jinsey Lumpkin, the founder and CEO of Juicy Pink Box, who has been wonderful as one of our advisors to MakeLoveNotPorn.tv, alongside our other advisors, Dan Ariely, Charlie Reeve of Yahoo, and Moot, Christopher Poole. And there are many more that I couldn't fit on this slide. Courtney Trouble, Maggie Mayhem, beyond the world of female pornographers, in the genderqueer world, Gisley, Buck Angel. Diversity is what drives innovation. Different points of view drive disruptive innovation. But there is a lot of really interesting stuff in porn out there that people will never make their way to, because when you are a horny 16-year-old boy in Minnesota, you go straight to YouPorn and you stay there. And because we don't talk about porn, porn lacks a lot of the tools that we use in the rest of our lives that help improve them. So the reason a lot of people will not make their way to the porn made by these female pornographers is porn lacks curation. Yes, there are porn sites that curate porn, but they're still porn sites. There is no Yelp of porn. And that's because it's really okay to come into the office on a Monday morning and stand by the water cooler and go, I'm really bored of all the restaurants that I've been eating at. I want to try a new restaurant. Who knows one? It's not okay to come in and go, I'm really bored of all the porn I've been watching. You know, who knows some new porn I can watch? And the mistake there is because any industry that actually finds its way to being more gender equal is an industry that is inventing a new and better future for itself. Women challenge the status quo because we are never it. And the day that we have a porn industry that is 50-50, driven, managed, led, and run by women as well as men, that targets 50-50 women just as much as men, and actually finds itself making 50% of its income equally from women as well as men, is the day we have a porn industry that no longer degrades anybody, unless, of course, you really want to be degraded. So I want to talk to you, I want to highlight the fact that we're not the only venture trying to do something new in this area. There are a number of brilliant entrepreneurs who have really interesting ventures designed to help change the world through sex. This is Vibes, which is the brainchild and the startup of my friend Dama Teo. Dama is a young Indonesian guy. He's based in Singapore. And he and his wife were separated very early on in their marriage for several months because they're working in different places. And they both found that very difficult. And out of that experience, Dama created a wonderful app for couples in long-distance relationships, which basically links to a vibrator and enables you to connect with each other and give each other experience you'd really like to if you were actually there. Vibes is terrific. It struggles with exactly the same problem we have. It can't get funded for love nor money. My friend Ben Tao, who created a site called Extra Lunch Money, last year launched Offbeater, the Kickstarter for adult projects. Again, because of this difficulty in getting funding. And by the way, this shows you the Safe for Work version of Offbeater, which brings up icons over the photographs. There is a not safe for work version, which is rather more lively on the photographic front. My friend Joe Nelson of They Fit Condoms. Joe has a real issue as a man with the one size pretty much covers all eventualities approach to condoms, and so he started his own condom company. They Fit are custom-made condoms. They have 95 different sizes. They have a very ingenious measuring tool. Go to theyfit.co.uk and you'll find out. Unfortunately, they can't yet sell in the US. They're in the process of getting FDA approval, but they can sell everywhere else in the world. And I particularly want to call out my friends, the team behind Bang with Friends. So Bang with Friends, as I'm sure a lot of you know, launched just over a month ago and has been enormously successful in its take-up. And the moment I saw it, I went, this is a genius idea. And I tweeted it, and the Bang with Friends team contacted me and said, we're big fans of Make Love Not Porn. We'd love to collaborate. Can we talk? I went, sure. So we Google hung out, and I have to admit, I didn't expect to be as impressed as I was by the team behind this venture and the vision they have of bringing sex out into the open and creating an authentic, open and honest dialogue around it in exactly the same way that we are. So we are totally collaborating with Bang with Friends because I'm making video sharing fun. A lot of people write to us and say, I really want to post a video on MakeLoveNotPorn.tv. Now I just have to find somebody to do it with. Well, here's your answer. So Bang with Friends have actually released a South by Southwest application. Do check that out. It's southbysxsw.bangwithfriends.com. And I really applaud what they're doing. I was actually speaking in a debate at my old university, Oxford, in the UK, a few weeks ago. And after the debate, a number of students came up to me to talk about Make Love Not Porn, and a whole bunch of them said to me individually, oh my God, have you heard about this new app, Bang with Friends? It's brilliant. So it's made its way into the heart of Oxford University, and it's being taken up everywhere. And we just love everybody who is working like us to actually create a better world around sex for all of us. Because why should you care about any of this? Well, the average age which a child first views hardcore porn online today is 8. That's a statistic from an internet service provider study. It's also borne out in our experience. An email I received a few weeks ago from a young woman pouring her heart out about how brilliant what we're doing is, contained the line, when I was 8 years old watching my first porn gangbang. And by the way, this is not because 8-year-olds go looking for porn. It's a function of what they're shown on somebody's cell phone in the playground, what happens when they go out to the neighbor's house, because it doesn't matter what parental controls you put in place, your kids live their lives in other places. Or an 8-year-old does something really cute and innocent. They discover a new naughty word and they Google it. Penis, hee, and 1 or 2 clicks away is something they never expected to find. And this is why I talk a lot to parents, because, and this whole area is one of the most data-free areas going. But by my estimation, less than 5% of parents ever talk to their children about sex. And when I say talk to their children about sex, I mean along a spectrum that ranges from, here are some condoms, get on with it, all the way to prepared to sit down and have the actual conversation. And if you are one of those parents prepared to actually have the conversation about sex, the conversation in my day, back in the day, used to be logistical. It used to be, this goes into this, when a man loves a woman, the birds and the bees. The conversation you need to have today as a parent goes, so darling, we know you're online, and we know you're looking at hardcore porn sites, and we just need to explain to you that not all women like being tied up, bound, gangbanged, raped, choked, and have men come all over them, and not all men like doing that either. 100% of parents not having that conversation, and they need to. A man wrote to me on Facebook a few weeks ago, a stranger, I don't know him, to say, my wife and I cannot thank you enough for what you're doing. He said, we decided that it was time that we had the sex talk with our 10-year-old son. So I sat down, I was talking about sex, and he said to me, Dad, why do men wear masks when they're having sex? And this man said, we have parental controls on our iPad. Somehow my 10-year-old son has managed to find his way to a site that shows men in masks having sex, and one hates to think what else besides. And he said, when my son is older, I'm sending him to your site. I can't thank you enough. And by the way, guys, this conversation starts in the home. It starts the moment your child asks something about sex, touch themselves, and the important thing is not so much what you say, but the way you say it. Don't be embarrassed, don't get angry, don't slap them down. Answer them openly and honestly and begin a channel of communication that will stand in very good stead as they get older. Because everything I'm talking about today is enormously important. Peter Thiel famously last year said that he felt that there were not enough ventures coming out of Silicon Valley that tackled the big social issues. He said we wanted flying cars, and instead we got 140 characters. Where are the big world-changing concepts? Where are the earth-shaking ventures? As a tech entrepreneur, I go to conferences like this all the time. I read blogs. I engage in conversations about the impact of technology on human behavior. My team and I are tackling one of the biggest impacts technology is currently having on the most fundamental aspect of human behavior, which is our sexuality, which informs everything about how we feel about ourselves, other people, our relationships, our lives, our happiness. It is enormously, enormously important that we understand we're at a moment in time where things are being experienced in the realm of human sexuality that have never been experienced before because they didn't have the wherewithal, they didn't have the internet. We in the tech world are very fond of talking about, the freedom of the internet, open everything, inventing the future. Tech world, I call bullshit. Until you change your mindset around ventures designed to change the world around sex, all you're doing is perpetuating the same old world order closed-mindedness that we pride ourselves in exploding. And so I want you to know that we're at a zeitgeist moment, and the next big thing is ventures that change the world through sex and porn. That's the answer to Peter Thiel. That's the opportunity to make really good things happen in this field. I would love it if my talk today actually made those of you in the audience who want to be entrepreneurs think about starting up a venture to do with sex. Because we will absolutely blaze the trail to make it a damn sight easier for you to do business than we have done. I can't stress that point too strongly. We really believe that you can change the world through sex, that this world would be a happier place if all of us were having more sex and more better sex. And actually, ultimately, one day, that's how we get to world peace. So you see, Al Gore and I are not that far apart after all. So I want to do two things before I open up the floor to questions. The first is, I want to introduce you to my absolutely goddamn phenomenal team. I get a disproportionate share of the limelight in this particular venture. I had the concept for MakeLoveNotPorn.tv. What you see today is entirely due to my two fucking brilliant co-founders. Where are you guys? Corey, Uni, Sarah, over there. So, Corey Innes, that man is a programming god. We are bootstrapping, we're underfunded. We brought in contract developers, but Corey shoulders the entire coding load on his own shoulders, and he does everything. All of our functionality, everything we're about as a unique video platform, he is absolutely bloody brilliant. Uni Chase is our user experience goddess. She has created a wonderfully intuitive, radically simple experience out of many, many very difficult and complicated things, not least of which are the legalities. And Sarah Beale, our community manager curator, not only manages our community of Make Love Not Porn stars, but also deals with a lot of the technical issues of uploads and submissions. And honestly, we couldn't have done any of where we are today without them. And the last thing I want to do is I want to ask all of you for help. So guys, if you believe in what we're doing, go to MakeLoveNotPorn.tv, sign up, and rent just one video to support us. If all of you do that, it'll make a difference instantly in this month's income. But also, guys, here we are at South by Southwest. We know exactly what you're getting up to. You are shagging each other's brains out all the bloody time. Please, get your camera phone out, get your video camera out, video it, and submit it to us, because next week we want to put out a special Make South by Southwest Love Not Porn edition. show the rest of the world how South by Southwest does it. And to make it easy for you to do that, the first 500 of you through the doors today received a sheet of stickers. So these are special stickers where you just decide which attitude applies to the person you happen to run into at the bar, at the party, or talking to. There is a line there for you to fill in your contact details, phone number, Twitter handle, email, and slap it on them. And obviously, it's a point of pride. How many of these stickers can you accumulate during your time at South by Southwest? So, and if you didn't get a set of stickers and you want some, check in with my team over there. So, guys, enormously appreciate, again, as I say, your being here, and I would love to answer any questions any of you have, and it doesn't matter how XXX rated, just hit me with them. I think there's a microphone somewhere that you meant to come and speak at, or somebody has a microphone they can give you, hopefully. But I'd love to answer any questions.
Well, I'll go first then.
Great.
And I wrote it to be sure that I would get it right. I have teenage children, and I would like you to consider having a monthly subscription so that with maybe teasers or shorts, since my children don't want to come to me and ask me, I could download this program onto the computer, they could look at it on their own, it would be real-world porn, and they wouldn't have to ask me.
Bloody love that idea. Love that idea. Excellent. And by the way, we are looking at different pricing packages and forms, and also how we can package them for parents to send to their children. So fantastic. Love it. Anybody else?
Do all submissions have to be couples, or is there any just
No,
self-play?
We have a whole bunch of solo videos,
Okay.
and also we welcome threesomes, foursomes, orgies, you know, whatever. And by the way, guys, you can submit anonymously. You know, about half of our Make Love Not Porn stars show their faces, half don't. And also, just as an incentive, we're 6 months old. We only took ourselves out of closed into open beta in January. We have taken in thousands of dollars in revenue in a world where the received wisdom is nobody pays for porn, they're paying for real-world sex. And we made our first Make Love Not Porn star payouts just before the holidays. And even then, as a 4.5-month-old closed beta site, several of our Make Love Not Porn stars had already made 4 figures. So, you know those, I wrote a blog post a few months ago with the heading, How MakeLoveNotPorn.tv Can Help the Global Economy. And I began it by saying, you know those spam ads that crop up all over the internet saying, make $2,000 a week working from home? Well, now you can.
My other question was whether or not you had any submissions on the site.
Yep. So thanks, guys. So we get asked that all the time. And actually, before we launched, we had that conversation as a team. We went, you know, as tech entrepreneurs, we should be using our own platform. There are divided opinions within the team. Some of us are game on for this, some of us aren't. But what we did all agree as a team is that we have launched and are building a very controversial business. We are fighting every day to make this happen. It would be too distracting if any of us posted videos on the site at this point in time. Further down the road, who knows? As somebody very kindly said to me, you know, the day you do that, Cindy, it'll break the internet. Yep.
I'm not trying to be a buzzkill. Obviously, love is a wonderful thing, but anything can be abused. So how do you deal with predation and that sort of thing? I mean, obviously, this is on an individual level with individuals dealing with private individuals. And
Sure. So we are more legal than legal. We've had to be, because we're operating right out in the public domain. I had to bring in adult industry lawyers to supplement our usual corporate lawyers. So our submissions process is utterly 2257, US law 2257 compliant and internationally legally compliant. You cannot submit without, you have to provide 2 forms of government-issued visual ID for every participant, which proves you're over 18, it's consensual. You know, we obviously have a site policy, we have rules. We say no children, no poop, no animals. You know, we have full terms of service that lay out exactly what is and isn't. And we view everything. You know, unlike a lot of the other sites we can upload, anyone can upload anything, we view every single submission. Obviously, in the first instance, to make sure it is real-world sex, but also that allows us to see exactly what's being submitted. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Thank you.
Hi. I largely think that DRM and copy protection is kind of bullshit and a waste of time, but in this particular instance, it's sort of a sensitive thing, and I think may not be an issue for your early adopters, but once the project gets big enough, there's bound to be some asshole that's going to screen grab everything. So how are you protecting your contributors with copy protection, privacy, and at some point, probably even copyright?
Right. Sure. So first of all, we're a members-only site. So you have to sign up and join in order to be able to rent videos. We have every possible protection in place. I mean, one can never say, obviously, 100%, but we have every security protection in place to ensure that our videos can't be ripped off and distributed anywhere else. And by the way, because this is a great opportunity to make this known, we recently had a situation where a couple who had submitted 7 or 8 videos, wonderful videos, very sadly ended their relationship. And so they wrote to us individually and said, please, can you take them down? And of course, we do that instantly. And we took that opportunity to actually write to all our members. We said, real-world sex involves real-world relationships. In real-world relationships, real-world things happen. So we're very sorry to tell you that, Iron Squares, this couple, has ended their relationship. We're happy to say that, we instantly acceded to their request to remove their videos, and we want all of you to know that this is what we do, because things change in the real world. If you change your mind, if your relationship breaks up, we instantly, take your videos down, and we give every member with an active rental a credit, so they can use that against an alternative video instead. We are enormously, enormously grateful to our Make Love Not Porn stars, to our contributors, because we are nothing without the content. And I have to tell you, the people who've submitted videos, the money is a secondary consideration. Our Make Love Not Porn stars are doing this because they believe in our social mission. They want a more open, authentic dialogue around sex. And we take that very seriously, and we build a relationship that is all about trust and respect. And we make sure that we are really sensitive to everything that they could possibly want to happen or not to happen with their content.
Oh God, this is so low. Okay. I'm Stefan, and I just founded a startup in the sexual health space. So
great.
I wanted to really thank you for being at the forefront and making the topic of sexuality less awkward. But I mean, talking about porn is awkward. Talking about STDs, even worse. I actually had an education question for myself. I don't actually know the porn industry that well, but it seems to me this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and you mentioned you had troubles getting into banks. So I'm just wondering, how does Bang Brothers do their finances and all these other sides?
Sure. So because the rest of the business world won't deal with adult, there are obviously a number of adult industry-specific people who operate in that business. Money talks first and foremost. So when you have an adult venture that's making a shed load of money, banks are surprisingly accommodating. Just because this is a question people often ask us, we couldn't work with adult industry-specific payment processors because, the single most important thing for us is that any business partner we work with has to first and foremost get what we're doing, believe in it, support it, and want to help make it happen. When you talk to adult industry-specific people, they go, yeah, social mission, you're porn like all the rest of them. Not a good basis for a working relationship. Because the adult industry has nowhere else to go, their rates are extortionate. Our revenue-sharing business model means that we split the income 50-50, net a small amount to cover hosting and transaction fees. We need transaction fees to be mainstream level, and the adult industries are super high. And actually, thirdly, ironically, we were too high risk for them. So I had an adult industry payment provider say to me, you're a startup, you have no track record, no cash flow, no funds, no assets, you're too high risk for us to work with. So when you are Bang Brothers or Manwin, you've got shed loads of money going through, you will absolutely find people who want to help you with that. In our situation, it's really difficult.
Thank you.
Hi, this is very exciting, thank you. I'm with Yeti.io, and we stream video to mobile apps. I didn't notice that you have an app, and I was interested in if you've had difficulty with iTunes, and what you have to say about that, just generally, their
Yep,
issues
no,
about content.
we're not, the iTunes store will never take us.
Okay.
Fact of life.
So it's not even a fight, it's just, it's not something that you're...
I mean, I'd love to be there, but they won't take us. Steve Jobs made his views on adult content very public,
Right.
unfortunately. Anybody out here want to help change Apple's mind? Please do. We'd love that.
Seeing as how you're talking about the future, I'm wondering if there's opportunities for virtual humans, 3D humans in sex on your site, or is it all just actual people?
No, we are. I mean, well, it depends on. It depends on, as long as it's real world sex, and there's a real world component to it. We are completely open to that. So it kind of depends on how you are using that. But it's primarily in the first instance for real world, what goes on in the real world.
That was politically correct. Awesome.
Thank you.
Hello. I'm sorry if this is a stupid question, but what percentage of the videos on your site involve a camera person, and do you think the presence of a camera person affects the dynamic of sex that you were talking about previously?
No, it's a really good point, because we actually did a blog post where we asked people that question. You know, do you think you behave differently? Actually, none of our videos involve like an extraneous cameraman. They're all, I mean, there might be, you know, we have a husband filming his wife masturbating, you know, something like that. Actually, what we found is a lot of people use their webcams, and when you do that, you kind of open your laptop, and you pretty much have it, you know, quite often on a table in your bedroom where you would have it anyway. And so that's not particularly inhibiting. You know, people can be a bit conscious to begin with, but they lose that consciousness pretty quickly. So from our perspective, that hasn't inhibited, you know, too much.
Hi, Cindy. This is Callie from Kink Academy and PassionateU.com.
Oh, right, great.
Hi. I'm wondering, because your model that you talk about not being porn, and I find it really fascinating, the line between entertainment and educational, and that Make Love Not Porn is something that's more inspirational still as opposed to educational, but I've heard it called educational in newsletters and newspapers, and wondering what your thoughts are in terms of actual sex education as opposed to a new way of looking at people having sex.
Sure. This is a very big, very complicated, very difficult area. And so I chose to tackle it in my own very small way, but in the way that I believe I'm particularly suited to, coming from a background of 28 years working in brand building, marketing, and advertising, which is to find a way to embed what I'm doing in popular culture in a way that makes it so entertaining, engaging, and compelling that people don't get what I'm really doing, which of course, at heart, is a form of educating. So we're doing this because nobody else is. Teachers write to me all the time and tell me they use MakeLoveNotPorn.com in sex education classes, which I'm thrilled about. A teacher, a professor from university, wrote to us last year and said, I want to use MakeLoveNotPorn.tv in sex education classes. Obviously at a university where the students over 18 would sign informed consent forms. One of the things I find, and have found in the 4 years since I launched MakeLoveNotPorn.com, is that quite often people will try to load me up with all of their agendas. So I get a lot of people saying to me, oh, Cindy, you should do this, you should do that. Oh, you should go into schools, you know, you should do this for whatever. And the reason for that is because there are so few people willing to stand up and be counted in this area that everybody always wants me to do all the things they're not prepared to do themselves. And so one of the things that we want is we would love Make Love Not Porn to be a foundation and an ecosystem for other people to build their own products and services off the top of, in the same way that the iPod, the iPhone, and the iPad drove secondary and tertiary markets of apps, accessories. So with the professor from the university, I said to her, well, teachers are really welcome to use our, you know, they can just join and rent. She went, well, I think it'd be better if there was a set of course materials around them. And I went, that's a great idea. You know how to do that. You design the course materials. We'll sell them off the platform, and we'll split the proceeds 50-50. So, you know, and in the same way that other people keep saying to us, why don't you hold workshops to help people understand how to video themselves for MakeLoveNotPorn.tv? And we go, we can't do that. we're having enough trouble building what we're building, but we'd love you to start that service and actually create your own venture off the back of ours. And so, you know, I believe that what we're doing is education in a very particular way, with a very particular approach. And I would love what we're doing to help other people who have more specific approaches. Does that make sense? Great. Yeah.
Hi. I had a question about user submission content again. I know you had a brief explanation earlier about like 2 forms of ID or whatever to make sure they're... My question kind of addresses like, I guess consenting to being in a video. Like it could still be, is there any part of the video where like everyone involves like, hey, we're I know I'm on film, I know I'm being recorded and stuff, or is there nothing like that? Because it seems like it could potentially be like some type of legality or privacy concern.
Are you talking about somebody submitting a video with somebody not knowing that it's been submitted?
Like potentially, I'm just saying.
We have to have everybody's name, address, you know, ID, full identifying details. And it's pretty difficult to be able to supply all of that without it being in a consensual context of the person concerned. So, and as I said also, because we view everything, you know, if, I mean, we are able to see where submissions we have are, I mean, we've had a few people, you know, upload what is very clearly porn videos from somewhere else. So we've gone, okay, no. So, you know, we also use the human filter to make sure that everything is as we would want it to be.
Thank you.
Hi, Cindy. I'm Patricia Martin, and I've observed that pornography kind of portrays the human body in a certain, well, it doesn't look like real-world bodies. So what are you seeing in the submissions that you're getting, and can you talk a little bit about how that's changing the way people see their bodies and sexuality?
Absolutely. The first thing I would just say to that is that that's a slight misapprehension about porn, because ironically, I must admit, I have an issue with people using the word porn as if it was one big amorphous mass. You know, because porn is like, that's like using the word literature and saying all literature is the same. Porn, like literature, has many genres, subgenres, forms. And so porn actually embraces every possible appreciation of every possible form of the human body, interestingly enough. But with us, we celebrate real-world sex, we celebrate real-world bodies. And so we actively want real. And, you know, our Make Love Not Porn stars range from people who are very attractive in the standard way most people think of as attractive, to people who are real. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful in its realness. I mean, you have to kind of watch it to see what I mean, but we absolutely want real-world bodies, real-world penis size, real-world everything. Yeah.
So after confirmation of everybody's identities, is there any way to provide for anonymity preservation?
Provide for, sorry?
Anonymity?
Yeah, absolutely. You can totally submit anonymously. You can wear masks, faces in shadow, keep them out of frame, absolutely. And you know, anonymous usernames, all of that.
So then you just basically say, submit, after this point, please make this, like here's our submission, and here's our identification.
I mean, we hold all ID very securely. Yeah. But I should explain, guys, all of this, our default setting is privacy. We're not like Facebook. You decide how much you expose of anything. I mean, we'd love you to share, but it's entirely up to you how much you want to share. We start with privacy on every setting, and you change that.
Right. Thanks.
Well, the question I wanted to ask is already asked, so I just want to thank you for this convenient truth.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's kind of hard to follow that, but I'm with AdamandEve.com, which could be considered, it's been around since '71, so it could be considered the past of porn. And I have to, as an art director, deal with a lot of imagery that I would prefer not to deal with, only because it doesn't represent exactly everything you're saying about reality. Are you looking to partner with, or are you looking to change the model for other extant businesses that are doing the same thing in the realm to get us to open up as well?
Absolutely. I want what we're doing with Make Love Not Porn TV to help the porn industry. I want to show that you can invent a new innovative business model and a new way of leveraging human sexuality as entertainment in a way that will inspire other people to do so. I talked earlier about the fact that porn suffers from collaborative competition. I believe the future is competitive collaboration. I believe that when all of us in a sector collaborate to make everything better for all of us, a rising tide floats all boats. That enables us each then to be uniquely competitive, leveraging our own skills and talents. So I absolutely want to collaborate to help everybody else. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Is that right? Okay, guys, that's it on our session, but thank you so much again. And make South by Southwest Love Not Porn. Thank you. Thank you.